I'm joined now on set by NBC News Pentagon correspondent Courtney Kube. Courtney, so good to see you.
You too, thanks.
So you spoke exclusively with the former president of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko. What is he telling you? What were your key takeaways from your conversation?
Yeah, that's right. So, remember, he was a political rival to President Zelensky, but after the Russian invasion, he told us that all went out the window and they are focused now on one Ukraine, defeating Russia, taking back their land and protecting their people. As part of that, he's in a very unique position because he actually, as president, negotiated with Vladimir Putin in 2014. So he understands more than most people what that actually is like. So I started out by asking about that. Exactly what does it mean to negotiate with Putin, and is now the time? Here's what he had to say.
I'm definitely for negotiation.
Okay.
But we have a very great negotiator from Ukrainian side. He is a top diplomat. And the name of this negotiator is Armed Forces of Ukraine. We have a very successful tour negotiation when we throw Russia away from around Kiev. Russia said that that was a gesture of goodwill. Second round negotiation was when we threw Russia away from Chernihiv, Sumy. Third round was when we threw Russia away from the Kharkiv region. And a few days ago, it's happening that this negotiator threw Russia from Kherson.
So you think the armed forces of Ukraine can retake the Russian-occupied areas with support from the international community?
I have no doubt about that, because Ukrainian forces has a totally different motivation. Our soldiers fighting for our soil, for our families, for our children, for our women and wives. And Russia has no motivation, and they cannot even explain why they are on Ukrainian soil, what they are looking for.
I mean, you're in a unique position because you've negotiated with Vladimir Putin in 2014. What do you think it would take for Putin to come to the negotiating table? And do you think there's any chance that that could be in the near future?
First of all, yes. Second, this is not an easy job to have a negotiation with Putin. It's not like this. Third, I have several recommendations for anybody who wants to analyze the possibility for negotiation. Point number one, please, don't trust Putin. Putin never keep his promises. Russia never keep his promises.
What's the relationship like now with President Zelensky? And how do you see your role as the former president?
Look, on the 24th of February, after 2 hours when the first Russian missiles attacked Ukrainian soil, which was happening 2 kilometers from my house, I was in the center of Kiev in my office, called President Zelensky, and when we met, immediately I said, Mr. President, I'm not anymore the leader of the opposition, having the second biggest fraction in the parliament, and you and me are the soldiers. And we united not around Poroshenko, not around Zelensky, we united around Ukraine.
And the former president was here to meet with Biden administration officials because President Zelensky now cannot leave, but he can carry the message on behalf of the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian government right now.
It's just an extraordinary conversation, Court, and it's pretty stunning to hear him say that, yes, he thinks it is possible at some point for there to be a negotiation, but until that happens, what are the key things that Ukraine needs right now? Is it more military support? Because the U.S. is giving a lot of aid and a lot of financial aid and military support as well. And yet Zelensky continues to say, we need more.
They do. And they do need more. They will constantly need ammunition as long as they are fighting the Russians. They're going to continue to need more air defense systems, especially if the Russians start using their air force, which is very possible in the spring. They're going to need continued support for radar systems so that they know where Russian systems are. They can attack back against them. But another thing that President Poroshenko talked about was they need humanitarian support, especially going into the winter. But he also says they need the support of the international community, especially the U.S., if they go into negotiations with Vladimir Putin. They need the Ukrainian people, and the Ukrainian government needs that support to be visible if they actually go into these negotiations, which he thinks is possible.
It's just so striking to hear him say that. I wonder, We are entering the winter. We are entering the 10th month of this conflict. Courtney, what did former President Poroshenko tell you about his concerns and concerns more generally throughout Ukraine that there is going to be waning support from the U.S., from its European allies?
He's very concerned about that. He talked about Ukrainian fatigue, and that would be the international community not being able to support the Ukrainian people, not just in this current fight, but if they are able to keep pushing the Russian military back to the Russian-occupied areas. The Ukrainian government has made it very clear that they want to clear out those occupied areas as well. And that's what he's worried about. He says he knows the Ukrainian military can do that. They can defeat the Russians. But he's worried about that continuing fight and the world losing their will to keep supporting it. It's not just with weapons. They're going to need more and more humanitarian supplies, especially as the winter gets colder. There's power outages. There are food shortages. The Ukrainian people will need help for years and years to come.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.